She texted, "Another late night at work." Funny, her boss posted from a beach bar. I didn't confront. I collected screenshots, times, and tabs. The story wrote itself out of office, in resort. Next morning the card locks changed, and so did my relationship status. We matched on a Sunday when the coffee shop still smelled like burned hazelnut. I'm Jake, 28, IT support, tickets, resets, quiet heroics for $78,000, and an on-call phone that vibrates like a trapped bee at 2 a.m. She's Leah, 25, a brand coordinator for small businesses. Meaning she filmed latte swirls, captioned them as vibes, and invoiced owners who didn't know how to tag. First date, I tapped my card before the barista finished the total. She did the polite purse hover. I said, "I've got it." She smiled, soft and practiced. "You're the best." That script hardened fast. Dinners became our spot, but always on my Apple Pay. A month in, I was buying concert tickets, since you refresh faster, and gas, since your bank flags road trips. She posted stories. Table candles, my wrists, her wine. He spoils me. I didn't mind. I was raised by a nurse who brought casseroles to funerals and taught me that generosity isn't something you itemize. I liked being useful. I also liked her. Smart, effortless, a laugh that made waiters linger. She lived with 2 roommates in a townhouse with good bones and bad parking. New phone every cycle. Designer tote with a charm that clinked against table edges. Client comps, she'd shrug. Her calendar was crowded. Content meetings, brand brunches, a launch party where the champagne tasted like static. She filmed me from the passenger seat, captioned "Errand Warrior," and edited out the part where the oil change was my Corolla at 92,000 miles. First hairline crack. Her reel about men who penny pinch, while I stirred sauce in the background. "Lucky me," she captioned. "Mine isn't like that." Comments poured in. "A queen deserves to be kept. Soft life only." I laughed because I'm not made of eggshells and because it felt like a bit. But bits calcify. When we split a lift, she'd forget to Venmo. When my card picked up her friend's midnight fries, "You're already out," she'd kiss my cheek and say, "I owe you." Like a phrase you display, not a debt you pay. By month 4, patterns congealed into policy. I ran tabs, organized weekends, booked Airbnbs with decent cancellation windows. She brought presents. A silk scarf, a sunscreen recommendation, a playlist that made dawn drives tolerable. I told myself balance had forms other than cash. She tagged me my rock and introduced me to her circle as the grown-up, which I heard as affection and now hear as infrastructure. Money talk was a fog we agreed not to enter. "Influencer stuff is seasonal," she said. "Net 30 turns into net never." I believed her because small businesses really do drag their feet, and because I didn't want to inspect the math behind the lifestyle. If she said a client comped her hotel slippers, then the robe and the late checkout must have been part of the same halo. Her mom adored me. Finally, a man with a job. And also sent Leah links to ring styles, just manifesting. Her friends performed a chorus at brunch. "What's his is ours," Meredith joked, meaning Leah, but the plural landed. I smiled and paid, calculating tip percentages while they debated a $24 salad like it was a referendum. I started keeping a quiet ledger in my head. Not because I planned to present it, but because clarity is an engineer's superstition. $216 for the festival she had to attend for content. $58 for the candle she said would fix the apartment's energy. $340 for a quick dental cleaning when her insurance reset weirdly. I told myself these were tokens thrown into a shared future, and the future would remember who tossed them. Then came the first respect test. We were out with her friends and a server dropped the check in front of me, as servers do. Leah didn't look up from her phone. "Babes got it," she sang, and someone clapped. It was lazy, thoughtless, and small. But small things repeat until they're a rule written in a font you can't miss. That night, in my notes app, I typed one line. Roles set quietly. I pay, she performs. It read like a bug report waiting to become a ticket. The week turns into a chew toy. Leah's calendar is all red blocks labeled pitch and client fire. She sighs on speaker. We're drowning. Evan's a slave driver. Tuesday, 10:41 p.m. A text pings my lock screen while I'm in bed with a ThinkPad balanced on my knees. Staying late at the office? Don't wait up. No emoji, just brittle efficiency. I thumb back. Okay. Be safe. I set my phone face down, finish a ticket about a printer that thinks cyan is a myth, and head to the kitchen for water. 12 minutes later, I pick up the phone to silence a different alert, and Instagram opens to the top of the feed. Evan Carter, her boss with the always undone top button, has posted. Location tag, Beach Bar, San Diego. Timestamp, 10:53 p.m. His caption, team earned a little R&R palm tree. The second photo is a clink of glasses. In the third, there she is. Leah, straw hat, glossy shoulders, lime wedge poised. She's laughing with her head tipped back in a way I've seen and privately thought of as her campaign laugh. The mojito is the same green as the aloe gel on my counter. I don't comment. I don't text. I let the app sit open until the scene by count ticks up. Then I scroll the carousel, thumb over the faces. Sophie from design, Miguel from ads, Evan with his surfer grin. Leah, framed by a palm that looks suspiciously like the one from last month's content trip. My chest does a minor implosion and then engineer brain reboots into logging mode. I open a fresh note. September 17th, 2024 overtime versus beach. I paste the URL, the geotag, the list of handles. I screen capture and save to a folder already titled Leah_public with subfolders by month. I export my last 7 months of statements, Chase, Amex, airline e-receipts, and start matching overtime nights to charges. 2 months ago, client dinner ran late, aligns with a $184 seafood bill at Blue Dory. 9:37 p.m. For entrees, 2 desserts, 1 espresso martini Lydia joked about on stories. 3 weeks ago, conference in Phoenix aligns with a round trip I booked on my card because her company reimburses slow. Still outstanding, $642. Last month. Rent, twice, because her deposit got weird with Zelle. I total a column. $5,180 tied to events that wore a story filter. At 11:31 p.m., my phone buzzes again, her story. Hotel slippers on a balcony rail, ocean tiles below. Caption, sometimes work looks like this. 10 minutes earlier, she'd posted a text on background. Why are men so insecure? Let her shine or step aside. No tag, but I can read contouring. Comments bloom. Know your worth, queen. Soft life isn't a crime. One helpful soul adds, men hate investing unless it's a crypto cartoon. I screenshot because receipts are what you hold when the narrative gets a head start. My hands remember a different protocol. Quiet generosity. But my eyes keep landing on the mismatch. Office hell versus a lime sugar rim in a city that is not ours. I pull up Find My disabled months back after a privacy talk. Fine. I open my budget sheet instead. Each transaction gets a memo. Evan Beach Night Crossref IG 2253. Uber from Late Pitch 014. Charge to me. Hotel tax for conference. Same property as story brushed metal balcony. I drop in thumbnails. It looks like a case file, which is not a thing I wanted my relationship to resemble. Midnight, I check Slack because I can fix servers even if I can't fix this. A coworker pings me about a DHCP scope. I answer, grateful for a problem with packets and rules. When the green dot next to Leah's name in messages pops to active, I let it sit. I'm not her father. I'm not a cop. I'm the person who keeps paying for the version she's publishing. By 12:22 a.m., I've got a simple table. Date, claim, evidence, cost. The numbers are boring and specific. The pattern is not catastrophic yet, but it's directionally loud. I scroll back to the first month she said, overtime, a sushi bill I covered, because per diem is a mess, and her reel that night titled Grind Never Stops, featuring a beach bonfire I recognize now by the string lights. At 12:41 a.m., I type a line under the totals. Observe, don't announce. It's the same rule I use when a switch looks like it's about to fail. Watch the temperature rise. Don't yank power until you've got a replacement on hand. Leah's text from earlier sits like a tack in my thumb. I place my phone face down, again, and shut the laptop. Before sleep, I add one more field to the table. Future action. Not a threat, not a speech. Just a box waiting for a tick when the pattern meets proof. Morning arrives like a receipt printer, line after line, undeniable. I make coffee, open the Leah_public folder, and start a clean branch called O in Resort. Subfolders by city, San Diego, Phoenix, Palm Springs. Inside each, I drop the captures. Evan's mojito boomerang, Leah's balcony slippers, Miguel's panoramic where a window reflection catches two silhouettes, his tall outline, her straw hat brim. I export my Apple Pay history, filter by venues tagged in their posts, match timestamps down to the minute, then paste into a table. Date, claim, working late. Actual location, charged link. As boring as drywall and twice as strong. Uber, 2206 pickup from our block to SAN airport. The same night she texted, office hell. Her e-boarding pass in my email because I once booked her travel to help. Still set to auto-forward. Return leg 2 days later. Posted as red eye grind. I attach it all. I add the Blue Dory receipt with 4 entrees and 1 espresso martini Lydia joked about, and Leah's story frame from the same nook, recognizable by the chipped blue tile behind the host stand. I take one last lap through their tagged photos, grab a freeze frame where a mirrored elevator shows their matching angles, and drop it into evidence with a note, window proof, no scenes, no speech. I move to systems, household visa. I log in, generate a new PIN, and lower the cash advance limit to 0. I remove Leah as an authorized user, not a joint owner, never was, and request new physical cards. Apple ID family sharing. Revoke purchase sharing. Remove her from iCloud storage so my backups stop colliding with her 4K drafts. Find my nothing to do. She disabled herself months ago, but I disable location sharing on my end. 2 symmetry. Bank. Turn on transaction alerts for anything over $50. Airline accounts. Change passwords. Rotate backup codes out of the Pelican case and into a fresh authenticator. I pull the spare key fob from the bowl by the door and put it in an envelope. On the flap I write, return to Jake. Next, I inventory what in the apartment is unequivocally mine. The ThinkPad, the NAS with mirrored drives, the Fluke multimeter, the CB750 title, the IKEA tool chest with the stripped hex drawer. I snap photos for a quick baseline. If a thing goes missing, I want the before. Only then do I send a message. No paragraphs, no thesis. I see gaps between words and locations. I'll be back tonight. Please pick up your things by 7 p.m. Green bubble turns, delivered. Then read. 3 dots appear, vanish, return. Nothing lands. I put my phone face down and file a short request with my property manager. Add a temporary, do not issue replacement fobs note. Confirm I'm the sole tenant on the lease. Reply at 10:08 a.m. Confirmed. I forward my renter's insurance policy to myself and add screenshots of coverage terms to the dossier. Boring, but boring is how you win. At lunch, Meredith, the brunch chorus leader, DMs me an old meme with men be fragile, layered in neon. I don't answer. Silence is the new perimeter. Meanwhile, my phone vibrates with fraud alert pings. 2 declined attempts on the household visa at a boutique she likes. $286, then $114. She texts, did the card break? I reply, card access changed. Please pick up your things by 7 p.m. She calls. I let it ring out, then text, email if logistics. No calls. Not punitive, archival. By mid-afternoon, the table has a spine. 7 months, 12 overlaps, $5,180 in charges tied to work, nights that happen to map to Evan's earned R&R. I add a column labeled narrative and paste her captions. Grind, boss mode, men so insecure. With links, it reads like a be testing on my patience. I print the packet, slide it into a manila folder, label the tab with today's date. I'm not planning a courtroom. I'm planning clarity. If she wants to argue vibes, I'll answer with metadata. When I close the folder, the apartment sounds like a server room after a reboot. Quiet, then steady. At 6:12 p.m., I place a collapsible bin by the door, a roll of tape, a Sharpie. I clear a path to her cosmetics caddy, the ring light, the woven throw she insists makes the couch pop. The 3 dresses that camped on my chair like tenants. I set her tote on the table, tuck the envelope with the fob inside, and stack her mail. Label on the bin, Leah, collect by 7 p.m. At 6:29, a new text. What is this? Are you breaking up with me via spreadsheet? I stare at the bubble until my own reflection looks back from the glass. Then I type, the spreadsheet only reflects what you published. Status is updated for clarity. I mean my relationship status, toggled that morning from in a relationship to single, not as a billboard, but as a systems change. Friends will see. Stories will spin. That's fine. I don't need to direct the chorus. At 6:58, footsteps in the hall. I open the door, step aside, and say, bin's there. Anything you need beyond that, email. She starts with volume, how I'm controlling, how everyone works from beaches, how real men don't police. I don't argue policy. I point to the envelope, then the clock. 7 p.m. isn't about dominance. It's about the next hour belonging to me. Boundaries are just times written down and kept. The blast starts before breakfast. 3 missed calls, then a story, white text on a gray note screenshot, Sparkle's GIF pasted in the corner. I provide 24/7 emotional labor, styling, connections. You can't monetize that, she writes. Some men take and then punish you for shining. She adds a poll. Respect creatives? With yes at 96% and no at 4%. I watch my icon disappear from her viewers. DMs arrive like hail. Control freak. Gaslighter, Meredith writes. Pay her back for the labor, accountant. Under Leah's reel, a familiar handle comments, intern salary boyfriend jealous of success. I make a note of the handle, cross-reference it to a brunch photo, jot the name. Everything gets a folder. Feelings later. I don't clap back. I post one slide, black background, white grid. Left quadrant. Her late at the office, text at 22:41. Right quadrant. Evan Carter's beach post at 22:53. Exact minute stamp visible. Bottom strip. Cropped photo of 2 highball glasses, each with the same gold snake bracelet looped around the stem. Seen on her wrist in 3 other posts. No names, no faces, just timestamps, city tags, and a line at the bottom. Words versus locations. I disable comments. It's not a dunk. It's version control. 20 minutes later, my work email dings. HR. Subject. External complaint. The body is polite dread. An anonymous report alleging online harassment of a woman by an employee of our company. Screenshots attached, my slide, her Notes app manifesto, my LinkedIn. I book a same-day slot with our HR generalist, 2:30 p.m. On Teams, she peers over blue light glasses. We don't adjudicate personal disputes, she says, but we do care if it spills into work. Keep it off your company time and channels. If anything escalates, let us know. I share my timeline and the reason for the slide. A boundary, not a campaign. She nods, logs a memo, ends with, take care of yourself, Jake. At 3:04 p.m., Leah emails me from a fresh Gmail with a subject line that tries to be a cease and desist. My attorney, she writes, no letterhead, demands you remove all defamatory content immediately and remit $4,000 for emotional distress and reputational harm. The signature block is nothing. Just her name typed plain, a quote about women supporting women, and a Canva-looking divider. Deadline, by close of business today. I forward it to my cousin Rob, who actually passed the bar. He calls while walking his dog. That's not a lawyer, he laughs. That's a template with a tantrum. Don't engage. Archive everything. Truth is an absolute defense. Your slide shows facts. Also, stop posting anything new. You've set your boundary. Let her burn oxygen. I lock down more surfaces. I switch my Instagram to private and remove followers who are there for sport. I export a PDF of the slide, hash it, and save the checksum. If anyone accuses me of edits, I have integrity on file. I add the HR memo to O in Resort. Title it, HR Call, 2025-10-24-1430. And note, personal matter, keep off work hours. I update my table with a new column. Impact, public defamation attempts. Employer notified. Legal bluff via Gmail. Leah isn't done. She posts a second note screen. This is my last word. I will not be bullied into silence. I poured into a man who resented my light. She tags no one and everyone. Her friends stitch the slide into their morality plays. Call me financially abusive, controlling, unsafe. I resist the tutorial urge to explain authorized user versus joint owner, title versus possession, evidence versus vibes. Explanations are fuel. Instead, I take a walk around the block. The air has that metal taste of rain that can't commit. I buy stamps, because paper still matters, and drop a certified letter to my property manager confirming Leah is no longer welcome to enter without me present. I CC myself, file the receipt, add the USPS tracking to the dossier. Procedure is a life raft. By evening, my phone is quieter. A few mutuals text privately, "You okay?" I answer with one line, "Handling logistics. Appreciate the check-in." Meredith slides into my DMs with a threat about calling your job again. I reply, "Please direct further communication to email. HR has my documentation." Then I mute the thread and the people who can't tell a boundary from a bruise. Rob sends one more text. "If she keeps posting, we can send a real letter." I type back, "Let's see if silence works." Then I set downtime on my phone from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., pour water into the plant she forgot for weeks, and close the laptop. I don't need to win the crowd. I need the record clean and my perimeter intact. Tom Webb appears in my requests like a ghost with receipts. "Been waiting for someone to notice," he writes. I tap accept, half expecting fumes. Instead, a folder link and a preview tile that freezes my thumb. Screenshots from a group chat called The Hook. 9 women, including Leah, avatars in warm filters. Playbook bullets. Forget your wallet. Say split. Pause, let him insist. Mention the restaurant 3 times till he offers. If he won't spend greater than or equal to $400 per month, swap him. My stomach does that elevator drop, then a click procedure. I save every image, export the chat as a PDF, and hash it like I did my slide. Tom adds context. "We dated. I left when overtime meant Evan's ocean view." I ask one question, "Why send this to me?" He types, "You looked at the math." Most guys just yell. I scroll. Leah's handle pops in neon. Overtimes with Evan are basically all-inclusive. She wrote 2 months back, followed by a palm tree emoji and a gif of champagne. Another line, "If he's paying rent twice, that's the bare minimum for security." A different name brags about fishing sponsors at corporate events, listing hotel lobbies like they're fisheries. Jokes hit with the weight of policy. I drop the chat into O in Resort under a new folder. Hook chat, subfolder sources/Tom, with a text file documenting his email, today's date, and the file's SHA 256. 10 minutes later, an anonymous account DMs me. No posts, default avatar. Carter's wife saw the stories. It says, "Blow up on Sunday. Company opened a conflict of interest review this morning." I ask for nothing. They send a blurred calendar invite screenshot. COI intake, marketing department. I don't forward it. I note it. When things start to crash, you don't climb on top of them for the view. I post 3 redacted screenshots. Names blurred, timestamps intact, the line about greater than or equal to $400/month. Swap him, and Leah's all-inclusive brag. Caption, "Not jealousy math." Comments pivot like a flock. The earlier sermonizers go quiet. A few write, "Yikes." One man DMs, "I thought I was losing my mind. Thanks for showing the ledger. I disable comments again. The post isn't bait. There's a stake in the ground. Leah responds by going live. Tearful, glossy, perfect ring light. Hunters of strong women will always try to paint you as takers, she says, voice wobbling. The screenshots are fakes. She uses the word violence 3 times and unsafe twice. A chorus repeats it in chat like a spell. Then her former roommate stitches the live with a rent ledger. 2 months behind on rent. New bag though, she says, shrug laughing. Dates visible. Property address partially blurred. Leah ends the stream abruptly. My phone becomes quiet enough to hear the fridge kick on. Meanwhile, 2 of the Hook members post apologies that feel like ad copy. Brands quietly comment, "We take this seriously." Then delete, then email. Tom forwards me a thread. One member released from a side gig after bragging about phishing sponsors at corporate events. You can almost hear the NDAs unlocking. I don't dance on it. I archive. I add a column to my table source and link each chat line to the image hash. I screen record my phone scrolling the chat to capture live metadata. I email myself the lot with a subject that would make sense to a future me. Hook chat. Leah. Collation. October 24th, 2025, 9:40. At lunch, my manager knocks on my cube wall and asks if I need the rest of the day. I say I'm good. Tickets still need closing. Switches still hum. I push a patch, test a failover, and feel my brain wash itself in the grammar of systems that don't lie. When my break ends, I glance at my phone. A text from Leah. Last ditch. You're ruining me. Delete and apologize. I reply with one sentence. I posted facts. I will not engage further. By evening, Carter's LinkedIn goes dark. A trade blog posts a coy line about marketing leadership under review. I don't share it. I water the plant again, pack Leah's final stray makeup bag into her bin, and set it by the door with the envelope containing the fob. Procedure continues even when the plot spikes. A final DM lands from Tom. You're not crazy. Strangely generous. I type back. Copy. Stay well. Then I open my notes and write what reads like a release valve. I didn't discover a villain. I discovered a script. The only choice left is whether I keep acting in it. I close the app, lock my phone, and let the apartment exhale. Cards blocked. Keys returned in a quiet clack on the table. The apartment sounds like it remembers me. I open my budget and reroute the $740/month I used to burn on overtime. Ubers that were ocean breezes, dinners that were team clinks, into a boring automatic transfer. First month, I finally buy the PC I'd spec'd for a year. Ryzen 7, 32 gigabytes RAM, a quiet case that hums instead of whines. I pay off the lingering $1,180 on a dental bill I'd been slow rolling because Leah's conference cycles ate the slack. There's oxygen in the spreadsheet again. Numbers that used to hiss now sit, obedient. My friends spin up a group chat called Recovering Wallets. Not a pity circle, a checklist lab. We trade red flags and verification routines. Archive stories before they vanish. Map the geotag to see if home is a hotel. Cross-check receipts against the night's lore. Keep separate accounts. Insist on alternating initiations, not just alternating payments. Someone posts a template for a first-month talk. Expectations around money, time, privacy. It reads clinical. So is hand-washing. I start dating again slowly, not as an antidote but as a calibration. With grace, the first coffee lands in that unplanned harmony. She reaches, I reach, we laugh, we both tap. She sends me a photo of her receipt without being weird about it. I delete it without being weird back. On date 4, she suggests a picnic in the park. Her grandmother's blanket, my sandwiches, her sparkling water obsession. Pricey dinners are overrated, she says, and I feel my shoulders drop in a way I can't fake. After, she texts a photo of her half of the groceries with a note. Got these, you drove. It's not the money. It's the posture toward shared load, not shared audience. Leah sends a final text at 1:06 a.m., timestamped like a dare. You ruined my life over money. I stare at the line until the phone dims. Then I type, I saved mine by telling the truth. Block, again, not as theater, just as a firewall. If she wants to address facts with an adult and a calendar, my inbox exists. If she wants to run plays, she can do it off my court. My mom calls the next afternoon from her nurse's break room. Proud of you, she says, then adds, also $5,000 in a few months? Budget talk soon. I laugh because the scold is love wearing a high-visibility vest. We schedule Sunday. She'll bring her yellow legal pad and a pen that clicks like a metronome. We always end with pie. I keep the O-In Resort folder. Not for spite, for memory. A monument to the moment I trusted my eyes over a caption. Inside, hashed files, timelines, HR memo, even the envelope receipt from the fob. When I'm tempted to smooth history, I open it, look for a minute, and close it again. It's not a shrine to pain. It's documentation that I can be counted on by the person who signs my lease. Me. The chorus fades. A couple of Leah's friends unpost their digs. One DMs a half apology about not knowing the whole story. I don't correct her. I'm not a teacher. Carter's review disappears into corporate silence. Tom sends one last message. Hope you never need another folder. I thumb back a single word. Same. Weekends regain their shape. I tune the CB750. Change the oil. Label the jar with the date. I fix a shelf that had leaned for months because the leaning had become the decor. I sleep through the night without checking if a location tag will insult my intelligence before breakfast. The plant she forgot perks up like it forgave me personally. If there's a moral, it's not cinematic. It's procedural. When someone publicly stomps your boundary, a public answer isn't drama. It's hygiene. You don't argue with mildew. You scrub it, you ventilate, you keep an eye on the corners. Trust first, then verify. If verification breaks trust, believe the break. Pay generously with money you can afford and never with your self-respect. And when the math goes weird, do what the network guys do. Isolate, document, reroute, restore.